Hey yeah guys, hello and welcome to this session of Coulomb's law. आज हम लोग पढ़ने वाले हैं the basic law of electrostatics, which is called Coulomb's law, which was discovered by scientist Coulomb. He had given mathematical expression for the same. So let's begin. Okay guys, just give it a thought. What would have Coulomb thought at first while giving this law? He would have a set up something like that. He would have imagined of a charges, or he would have taken some charges or charged bodies, would have suspended them through some string or something like that, and have varied charges on them. On first set I have kept 2 negative and 2 positive charges. On second set I have kept 4 negative and 4 positive charges. On third set I have kept 6 negative and 6 positive charges. So all of them are going to attract with each other, right? Now let us see the intensity of this attraction. Okay, now I had seen that the charges with the maximum magnitude are attracting at a greater speed or at a greater intensity, but the charges with the least magnitude are attracting with a lesser amount. Coulomb would have clicked in his mind that okay, fine, depends on the magnitude of charges, depends on magnitude of both the charges though. Then Coulomb would have given a second experiment on that, that is, he would have taken same amount of charges but would have separated them with a greater distance. I have separated one set of charges with a greater distance, I have separated second set of charges with a lesser comparatively. Now we will again release these charges and we'll see the motion. Now see, the one with the least distance have attracted first. That means okay, the force of attraction is inversely proportional to the distance. And again, by jumbling with some equation, he had come upon the conclusion that the force is inversely proportional to the square of distance. Fine. Now up till this time, something that was very much crystal clear in Coulomb's mind, that was force depends on magnitude of both the charges and it is inversely proportional to the square of distance. But wait, it's not over yet. There is something more into this equation, and that is called a medium. Coulomb's law also depends on a medium. How? Now this is the third setup which Coulomb would have made. Now guys, see, you can see there is a positive charge, there is a negative charge, right? And this positive and negative charge will be attracting each other. There is one spring which is connecting a negative charge, so that the intensity of attraction we can measure. Now there are 3 set of experiments which is done. First one is taking medium as a vacuum. Second one is taking medium as an insulator. Let us take a pure water. And third one is a pure conductor. Now guys, I'll make first switch on. If I'm releasing first charge, now you can see it's attracting towards positive charge and stopped. Okay, we'll note its position. Now we'll switch on the second set. You can see the intensity of attraction is quite lesser. Now we will make on the third set. No motion at all. My goodness, conductor opposes the force. Conductor doesn't allow electric force to pass through it. Electric force, we can say electric field lines to pass through it. Okay, now here Coulomb have introduced one more quantity, that is called permittivity. Now guys, for vacuum the permittivity is epsilon naught, for insulator it is k times epsilon naught, and for conductor is infinite. Now you must have come to the conclusion that the permittivity is something that opposes the force. The capability of medium to oppose electric force, that is called permittivity, right? Now here you can say that vacuum has permittivity epsilon naught, which is the least value, very small value. Now an insulator has a permittivity k times epsilon naught. The k could be any value, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, 10 times, 80 times, 30 times, it could be any value. But in comparison with, in terms of absolute permittivity, that is called permittivity of vacuum. And last but not the least, the conductor opposes force to infinity. That means conductor doesn't allow field lines to pass through it. That means its opposing capability is infinite. Conductor never allow any electric field lines to pass through it. Okay guys, you want to visualize it to the depth? Let me show you one more animation. What would exactly be happening in that medium? Why these field lines are not permitted in conductor? Why it's least permitted in insulator? And why the permission is to its fullest in vacuum? Let's understand it with one more visual. That is, we will separately study everything. In vacuum, see guys, electric field lines emerge from positive charge and it goes through the negative charge. Here you can see that from positive to negative, there is no one to stop these electric field lines. But what about a medium, an insulator? Let us say a pure water. Guys, for a pure water, let us say this is a pure water. It has some molecules, water molecules. Water molecules are polar molecules, right? It has a positive hydrogen and negative oxygen in them, which is shown here. Okay guys, now if you are putting charges in this medium, what exactly would be happening? Electric field lines will try to emerge from positive, will try to catch that negative towards itself, but in between these oxygen and hydrogen are polarized, and while polarizing they develop their own electric field lines, and you can see the direction of these electric field lines are exactly opposite to our electric field lines. That means they are cancelling out some of our field lines. Okay, now the intensity of field lines decreases. That means the capability to pull that charge decreased. Fine guys, now that's what happening in conductor. You can see the conductor has free electrons in them. In water they were just polarizing, but in conductor electrons would go towards positive charges and they will develop more intense opposing electric field lines, which will cancel out every electric field lines of our charge. That means there is no force. That means infinite opposition. That means infinite permittivity. Permittivity of conductor is infinite. Guys, permittivity is something opposing our force. Okay, don't take it in another way. Students generally take it in another way. They think that permittivity means giving a permission, but no, not at all. Permittivity means opposing the force, right? They are opposing electric force. Now let us see the equation, guys. In equation we have a charge q1, charge q2. We had already seen in the beginning that it depends on product of both the charges. It's inversely proportional to the distance, and it also depends on permittivity. You can see here guys, this is called an electric constant, and guys, the value of electric constant is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, and you can see here this epsilon naught is called absolute permittivity. Guys, this is called absolute permittivity. Fine, let us see it. Now this equation has this epsilon naught, which I already said it is called permittivity, absolute permittivity. It has two other names, that is called permittivity of vacuum or permittivity of free space. It has a fixed value which is experimentally already derived, that is 8.854 into 10 power minus 12 coulomb square per Newton meter square. You need to remember this value for calculation purpose. Now guys, we are talking about a medium. What happens if you are replacing this vacuum with the water molecules? Guys, these water molecules has their own dielectric constant. Okay, let me show you. Now this epsilon naught into K is permittivity of medium, permittivity of water. Okay guys, now you can see this is a permittivity of medium, and this K is called dielectric constant. Dielectric constant means it's just a ratio of how many times the permittivity of water is more compared to that of permittivity of vacuum. Guys, we already had seen that permittivity of medium is nothing but K times permittivity of vacuum, right? Then what would be K? K is nothing but epsilon upon epsilon naught, which is also called epsilon R. Epsilon R is called relative permittivity, guys, and this K dielectric constant is nothing but it's just a ratio of permittivity of medium upon permittivity of vacuum. Suppose if permittivity of medium is 5 times that of permittivity of vacuum, then K is 5. As simple as that. It's just a ratio, guys. Fine. How many times the medium opposes the force compared to vacuum? Okay guys, let us take an example for that. If we are having a vacuum and the force in vacuum is F, If the permittivity of this water is 80, now my force in water is nothing but F by 80, is 80 times less than vacuum. Okay guys, the force would be maximum in vacuum, force would be least, that is 0, in conductor, and force will be lesser in any insulators. So that's all about Coulomb's law, that's all about permittivity. I hope you must have got this concept very well in your mind. Thank you so much. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. Bye bye.